welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Wombat Ferrari, and this is Dimir Midrange. This is a deck that Wombat Ferrari has been working on for a few months now. I played it a while back on the channel 6 to 8 weeks ago, whenever it was that last time it was submitted. This was originally based on B Excellent's budget Dimir deck that didn't have any reserve list cards in it, and Wombat Ferrari has taken that and filtered it through his own collection. The last time I played it, it had 1 Underground Sea, because that's what he owned. And now it has 2 Underground Seas, because he's been taking this to LGSs. He's in the MTGO streets now, downloaded MTGO to get more reps, and he's been putting up some good numbers with it there as well. We've departed from the budget thought experiment and just entered into a deck that Wombat Ferrari is happy to play with. Here we see all the core bones of Dimir Tempo, just a top-tier deck in the format. Brainstorm, Ponder, Tamiyo, Fatal Push, Thoughtseize, Bowmaster, Sheoldred's Edict, Brazen Borrower, Kaito, Force of Will. All cards you will find in the main deck of Dimir Tempo. Where this deck differs, there are no Wastelands and no Dazes. We are not trying to tempo. We're not trying to keep the game small. We're trying to bring the game into the middle and then outpower the opponent with it there. 4 copies of Barrow-Goyf in the main and 4 Baleful Strix. These are the cards that occasionally you see a Strix or 2 as a flex slot in Dimir Tempo for the mirror match. You see Barrow-Goyf in every black sideboard in the format. These are the cards people reach for in those mid-range or tempo mirror matches where the games are going to go longer in game 2 out of the sideboard. But here they are in the main. This is just our plan A. And then out of the sideboard, we find more stuff for combo. Nile Spellbomb, Disruptor Flute, Null Rod, Force Negation, Fairy Macabre, Consign to Memory, where I would say the Daze Wasteland deck is probably better against combo than this build. This build is much better against mid-range decks or control decks. And several of the combo decks in the format, Dimir Reanimator and Nadu, most near the top, most indicative of this, are combo decks that if you can fold their combo with something like a Thoughtseize, an Nile Spellbomb, or a well-placed Fatal Push, then they have to play a tempo or mid-range game, which you're already better at than them. I think this deck is well-reasoned and reasonably well-positioned, and it's just full of good cards. I really like this deck, and I'm excited I get to play it again with these new updates from Wombat Ferrari. Let's do it. I'm on the play in round 1. I'm going to keep. I like this hand. I get to Thoughtseize on a basic land, then I can develop Baleful Strix or Brainstorm, all on basic lands if I need to. I was just asked in the chat, are you the streamer? Yep, I'm the only one. They're a fan of the show. I appreciate it. Everyone say hi to Aegis. Aegis. Alright, Thoughtseize. Okay, we've got some Reanimator in the mix. They're holding the Atraxa. Brainstorm is the thing that fixes this hand the most. That gets the Atraxa back in the deck. In the chat, they're saying Atraxa, please. No, sorry, it's Brainstorm, but, worth a shot. Yeah, the Brainstorm plus Fetchland results in Atraxa being in the graveyard right away, thanks to Surveillance, and I'd prefer to avoid that. Leading on basic island means they can't Entomb Reanimate next turn. Did not shuffle the Ponder. All right, I'm going to float this basic island out here and play Baleful Strix. If this gets dazed, it's not a huge deal, because I can just cast Barrow-Goyf next turn, and they're back a land on it. One of the deltas has appeared. Ponder, Brainstorm, Slam Barrow-Goyf are my options here. I'm going to attack with Strix first. If they have a Orcish Bowmaster, which sometimes this deck plays, sometimes it doesn't, they might be incentivized to... Oh, I should have actually played the land first, so they have to think about Kaito. Alright, that might have been bad. Alright, I am not going to respect Bowmaster. That's not usually in main decks. Cool. We got away with it. Underground Sea's out of here. I could just dump this Delta. I know they have a Wasteland in hand, so I probably want to play on basics. I'd be surprised if Daze was in the mix here, but I am going to Ponder off of Basic Island now. Ponder, Finding, a Force of Will, or a Thoughtseize are both good for me. As much as I'd like to develop Tamiyo. Okay, sweet. Found Force of Will and that next land. Knowing that I'm playing against a combo deck, I gotta be disciplined here. Okay, took a draw without shuffling. So that Ponder, they just wanted all 3 cards. Tamiyo's there. I might have to force a Brainstorm. Yep, okay. Do I want my own Tamiyo or my own Brainstorm? I think I want my own Brainstorm. I'm going to force pitching Tamiyo. Because again, this Brainstorm can entomb the Atraxa. Oh, force back pitching Atraxa. All right, game on. All right, you get to flip your Tamiyo. And I'm probably just going to shove Barrogoyf here. Right, Polluted Delta, jam Barrogoyf. No need to attack. It doesn't help. I suspect this Brainstorm shuffled away Wasteland after seeing how many basics I'm playing with. I'm not going to actually believe that this card's in their hand moving forward, though I'm not going to click it out, just in case I need to remember that. Left a card on top, scary. Ponder. There's a Baleful Strix on top of my deck right now that I don't really want. Okay. I could Brainstorm to hide the goods here. Alright, go ahead, Thoughtseize me. Both cards are good. A Shuffle Surveil is good. Let's chop it up. What do you want to do? They could take my Bowmaster and reanimate it. Okay, going for the Brainstorm is exciting. That means reanimate is not what they're trying to do right now. Here's Polluted Delta. 2 cards left. Oh, a fetch. I hope these cards are not Entomb Reanimate. Okay, just a fetch, it seems. I mean, this could be turning on Fatal Push, but I can't play around that. They know my hand. I'll get my Undercity Sewer. Baleful Strix still on top of the deck. I still don't want it. That does give them something pretty impactful to reanimate, but the Bowmaster is good against it. Petty Theft. All right. Barrogoyf's back in my hand. Land is quite good here. That lets me replay Goyf and represent Bowmaster. And if they can tempo through Tamiyo one more turn, they're in really good position. Or no, the Bowmaster kills them if they ultimate Tamiyo. So they have to answer Barrogoyf now before it takes a bite out of Tamiyo. Then they also need to answer Bowmaster in order to ultimate Tamiyo without dying. Tamiyo minus targeting Ponder. Okay, I don't have to respond to that. I would have responded with Bowmaster if they had played or targeted Brainstorm. I mean, this isn't getting better, so send it. Yeah, they did have a Daze. That's annoying that I don't have my Bowmaster, but that card is not super impactful right now. Picking up the Surveil Land gives them, like, if the Archon of Cruelty is in the mix on this Ponder, they can get it into the graveyard. Reanimating my Bowmaster kills Baleful Strix and blocks Barrogoyf for a bunch of turns. Oh god, Entomb. Well, did we get it? Is it all there? One unknown card in the hand. Archon's in the bin. There's the Sewer we know about. Kept a card on top. That's scary. Oh, come on. Settle down! Alright, well, this kills Baleful Strix. Barrogoyf is 5/6. Did they keep a Fatal Push on top of the deck? Is there even Fatal Push in these decks anymore? Reanimate Baleful Strix. Oh my god, that was so good! Alright, I need to draw a removal spell for Baleful Strix. I guess if I just don't play Bowmaster there, I'm in good shape, and instead I'm dead. Okay. I think I fucked that up. They knew I had the Bowmaster. They still cast Ponder. I had the opportunity to make Daze not part of the game, but I played into it. That one was definitely my fault. In a game like that, it would be easy to be like, yeah, of course they drew Entomb Reanimate when they were dead. Well, yeah, but you also, you know, if you don't play right, you don't get to complain about their good draws. Okay. Nile Spellbomb, Fairy Macabre, Bitter Triumph coming in. Force of Wills can back off a bit. The only thing in this matchup I want to force is Entomb Reanimate, and now I have Spellbomb Macabre doing that same thing for 1 card instead of 2. Baleful Strix is not that good. I still like Barrogoyf, Bowmaster. Fatal Push is fine. I could cut a push, leaving Strix in, which is better against their Barrogoyfs. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave a Strix in and cut push instead. Okay, I like this hand a lot. Keep. Thoughtseize with basic Swamp. Thoughtseize sees Thoughtseize. It also sees Tamiyo. I'm ready for Tamiyo. I can beat the Wasteland and the Daze. Yeah, Thoughtseize takes Thoughtseize here. Underground Sea. Tamiyo. There it is. Basic Island. That's fun. push Tamiyo immediately with the land that casts the spell. Not going to play this Nile Spellbomb into Daze. I do have to keep track of this Murktide. I have 2 Edicts and 2 Kaitos and 1 Brazen Borrower that can deal with a Murktide once it's in play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reanimating Tamiyo. Frustrating. Would have not been a problem next turn, but it's fine. Ooh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Daze, Wasteland. I am going to prioritize Bowmaster here because Kaito can make this game pretty sweet. I do have to watch out for the Wasteland Daze trick. If I play Bowmaster without cracking my fetch, they can Wasteland my fetch, I fetch in response, then they Daze when I don't have any mana. Okay, I think they have Brainstorm here, because now they can Brainstorm or crack their clue, do Tamiyo stuff. Yeah, they're just doing the thing I just said proactively instead of reactively. The way I could have played around this is just by fetching on my own turn. And my plan is still Kaito here, who still takes a chunk out of Tamiyo. Tamiyo actually dies here, so it's okay, unless they find Force of Will. And I think I actually want Underground Sea at this point. They use their Wasteland to flip Tamiyo, and now I'm going to try to have good mana. Okay. Opponent will see they are rewarded for their play. Do they find Force of Will? Okay, cool. Now, I'm not sure there's anything I need to be super worried about. Even if they Fatal Push Bowmaster, I can Ninjutsu off the Orc Army. The bad news is Murktide is looming. And I recently learned something which I did not know before. Ninjutsu, you have to attack the thing you were attacking with the ninja creature. I thought generally when a creature enters tapped and attacking, you can decide where it's going to go for yourself. But that is not how this works. And I think I actually just want Bowmaster to be in play. So I'm going to pick up the army even though it's gone forever. And my opponent has not lost life this turn, so I'm just going to emblem up. My ninjas are bigger. They can play Murktide here, but Kaito can stun it. I'm just going to have to hope I've done what I needed to do and that they haven't come up with Entomb Reanimate from underneath me. Yeah, fetch. And this is the strength of this Dimir Reanimator deck in this metagame. We see I was on the play with Thoughtseize Nile Spellbomb, and my opponent still is in a pretty good position. Okay. I think I want to start with a Ponder. See if I can find a solution to my various problems here. Fatal Push is good in the future. Okay, I'm going to take the land now. Play Flooded Strand, play Nile Spellbomb, and now I can bust this while paying for Daze. I'm going to stun Barrogoyf. I'm going to bomb my opponent's graveyard and take the draw. Fatal Push is in my hand, but I know they have Daze. I'm going to not make a fool of myself with that. And attack. Cool. That was a pretty good turn. Alright, desperately cracking a clue. Bowmaster, ping ya. We got the GG. All right, game 3. And a game like that is one where I would think about when people are talking about Daze should be banned in Legacy. And I knew about that Daze the whole game. My opponent made a skill play about it. Like that Wasteland line create an opportunity for Daze to be useful in a spot where it was otherwise not useful. And then knowing about it the whole game, I was able to just make decisions, and my opponent basically played down a card at the expense of me playing back a turn. But if you have good mana, that doesn't matter. All right, Barrogoyf confirmed. Not that there was any doubt. I did not see proof of the Reanimator stuff being removed, and I don't necessarily expect it to be completely gone. All right, this is still the deck I want to play with. And game 1, I lost to Daze as well, but I mostly lost to myself because I tried to jam into a spot where my opponent was like pretty clearly baiting me, and I got punished for it, where if I just wait, if I just go to my turn without casting a spell, the Daze does nothing. I love Daze. I frequently don't play with it. I'm usually the one trying to play basic lands to not get dazed, but I do like the effect of Daze on the format. All right, unfortunately, this is Swamp, not Island. It could be Underground Sea, but I don't want to get wasted out of this game either. How many lands do I play? 19, and they are all mana-producing lands. There's no wastelands I have to think about. How much faith do I want to put in Thoughtseize plus Fatal Push? I'm going to keep. Here I am talking about how much I like Days in the format, and I'm keeping a hand that is in a lot of trouble to it. Look at that. You were worried. Why are you talking to me about Days getting banned? You weirdo. Leave me alone. All right, Thoughtseize you. All right, Barrow Goof, Brazen Borrower, 2 forces. And I'm going to take Barrowglyph. Though, taking Barrowglyph might just make it faster for them. But I do have Strix Push. I'm taking Barrowglyph. Yeah, if they just reanimate that, it's not the best, but that is a card they would have to find access to. And I have 3 answers to that in my hand versus their 2 answers, or 1 answer, or 1 way to push it through. And there they go, dumping Days, already recognizing on turn 2 that it's not what the game's going to be about. Okay, I have perfect info. They drew Polluted Delta for a turn. Ooh, that one's good. I think I want to spend my mana while I can, though. I'm going to get Strix down. I know they don't have Days. I don't care if they Baleful or Petty Theft this. I'd like to draw a card now. Try to get my next land drop. Sewer. Kept the card this time. Thoughtseize. All right. All spells. Take a gander. And I still have perfect info. Take Kaito. Good call. That's the one that puts them in the earth if I top deck a land here. Right, attack with Bowmaster or Strix first. Whoever this is. And I'll cast this Ponder. I don't think they can afford to force a Ponder. That would be crazy aggressive. Honestly, I don't care if they do force this Ponder. I welcome that. Okay. They did not force Ponder, and I got gas in the tank as a result. That was Island, Swamp, Sheoldred's Edict across the board there. I am not going to play out Tameo that they can just Petty Theft on curve. Underground Sea. I'm just going to dump out. The thing I have going for me right now is that I'm dealing damage and they're not. The more damage I do, the more risky Reanimate becomes later. They're drawing random cards off the top of their deck. If they drew Bowmaster right now, great job, I guess. But I'm not going to play around a card I haven't even seen in their deck yet. Attack with everybody. Everybody connects. Okay, I could Ponder now. I could Tameo now. I'm going to start with Ponder, see where that goes. I know there's a Sheoldred's Edict there. They might hardcast Force of Negation. Yeah, like that's fine. I got lands, and now I can play this Tameo when they can't just Petty Theft it on curve. Wow, Force Pitching Force. Cool. Okay, their hand is Brazen Borrower. Go. And my hand and top of my deck are 3 answers. We got the GGs, yeah. There's almost nothing they can do here that I'm scared of. An opponent agrees. Those were GGs. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, MagicCon, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2 with a hand that will chew up and spit out any fair matchup, and we'll die immediately to any combo matchup. Alright, Chalice the Void turns off my Fatal Push, but I have good mana, and Strix Goyf are things that I like here. We'll see what flavor they are. We're going to follow up with a mountain or an Eldrazi Temple. An island, okay. So this is probably 8 cast. I hope I don't have to play around Tishana's Timebinder. That would be frustrating. Okay, another fetch land. Alright, I'm going to fetch. Oh, come the fuck on. I mean, I'm never in my life going to play around that card in terms of like not cracking my fetch when this is what the game is going to look like, but that was tough. Glimmer Post. Yikes. Okay, I think we're dead. I think we lose this game even if Baleful Strix resolves. The Tidebinder is annoying, but not really what's going on here. Strix. Right, this is a pseudo fair matchup, which is tricky because I don't have Wastelands. There's not even the back to basics in the sideboard anymore. If they just do big post stuff, they're going to go way over the top of me, and I have almost no way to stop it. Okay, they don't want to get Kaito'd here, probably. But I want to stick Barrowgoyf, so I'll block. Deal. I'm a lot more interested in Barrowgoyf than anything else here. Alright, do you have another Tidebinder? Nope. Underground Sea, Barrowgoyf. All I can do is slug it out with this opponent at this point. They're drawing cards, but losing life to One Ring. Ancient Tomb is part of their mana. Just gotta try to smash while I can smash, I guess. Doing something in the end step. Is this Otawara? What do we got? Factor Fiction. I would be so happy if they cast Factor Fiction right now. Untapped all their mana. I wonder if they're thinking about Daze. That is a card you have to think about, even if I know I don't have it. They wouldn't have to think about Daze if this was Otawara. Eldrazi Confluence. Alright, +3, -3, +3, -3. And make a spawn. This will kill it. Okay. Why isn't this a Kindred instant? That's stupid. That should make my Goyf bigger. They're down to 10. They need to start gaining life or killing me. Because right now they're doing neither. Spawn token attacking. Ninja me. Alright. Not ninjaing me. They do have a deck full of Glimmer Posts, which can tread water with the ring quite well. Discarded Sink into Stupor. And I'll play a Strix here. Strix Edict, hit them with Kaito, I think is how I want to play this game. It's just like tapping out for Barrowgoyf every turn when they have a blocker on the ground. I don't think that's going to do it. End step Kozilek's Command, probably. Yep. They're making spawns. Killing my fella. Down to 7. 9, 10 mana in the 11 mana in the pool. And I can kill Emrakul here. They are a Force of Will deck, but I can at least try to kill Emrakul here. If they tap this ring, I'll go in response. The spawn's attacking. They probably don't want to tap the ring. Alright, in this end step. Yeah, this is so many looks at Force. Edict, sacrifice a non-token creature. Thank you, Sheoldred. Wow, Emrakul died. So they're going to go to 2 on this upkeep, and they can't tap Ancient Tomb anymore. Game on, I guess. Ah, Glimmer Post, no! Alright, they're back to 6. Tapping the One Ring, they're probably going to play a new one here. Yep, replace that. Now they can tap Ancient Tomb without taking damage this turn. Karn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 1 short of latticing me. But they can do that next turn. Tormod Script, okay. I wasn't going to use my graveyard. They just crypted me immediately, so they're worried about Murktide Regent. That's a reasonable thing to be worried about in this spot. Force of Will, that's actually awesome. Alright, Barrowgoyf. I can hardcast Kaito, like that's legal in the rules of the game. And I could use Kaito to clear the runway for Barrowgoyf next turn. I can fetch at any point to make Barrowgoyf 2 power. Do they want cards off the ring, or do they think they have it covered without it? Okay, they did not draw off the ring. Trillions of mana available. Have they redrawn Emrakul? Okay, I'm going to force this Kozilek's Command because I don't have any other plan this game. Spending mana, this might be a hardcast force, or they're confluencing in response. +3, -3. Oh, this is not going to kill Barrowgoyf. Fetch. Sewer. Another force on top. I guess I need that card. Yeah, Barrowgoyf will be 3-4 when Confluence resolves. Goyf to you. 6-1. That was 3-4. Yeah, 6-1 Barrowgoyf. Now it's a 7-2. There's a Kindred in the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They could play Lattice here. All right, they're standing up the One Ring. It's an indestructible 4-4 blocker. That's reasonable. All right, I have a 4-5. I have a Force of Will in my hand. I'm going to attack. This gains me 4 life. I guess I'll attack Karn. It mostly doesn't matter. They're going to block with their indestructible creature, or they're going to block and fizzle the damage with their lifelinker. Or with their... They're going to fizzle the lifelink with their dope. Okay. Pass. Unfortunately, I have to leave up Force of Will on the hard cast. I can't develop Kaito here as much as I'd like to. Because getting latticed from this spot is actually GG. Alright, we're tapping the ring. Does that mean they drew another one, or does it mean they think they have it? Karn's making a wish. Micah's and Lattice. And they have plenty of mana if they have a counter spell. Force that the hard way. All right, we're spending mana. Filter to second blue. Yeah, this is a hard cast force. Oh, Sync it is. Wait, no. I turned off auto yields. Fuck! It didn't occur to me that might happen. God damn it. All right. I could have forced that again. Oh, that sucks so bad. And I saw the card. Again, this is my own fault. Just trying to use my Magic Online fundamentals to save time. Wow, that sucks. And is this game winnable? I mean, there is a counter on this ring. If they have any follow-up, we're dead. And I can't even force anymore because Kaito's colorless. There's no blue cards to pitch. All right, well. All right, I wasn't beating the Kozilek's command anyway, but that was a mistake. All right, Consign to Memory and probably Force of Negation come in. There's a lot of fatal pushes here that don't seem to have a use. Bitter Triumph can kill Karn and larger Eldrazi. Disruptor Flute can name the One Ring. Yeah, Nile Spellbomb doesn't matter. Strix can enable Kaito. That's about all it does. This matchup's very, 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 very bad. A Null Rod can turn off some stuff. I think that hits the ring as well. I think I like Flute more than Rod. Do I like both? And they're not Mystic Forge combo. That's not what we're playing against. I think I need to just apply damage to them and disrupt as much as I can. Because they were at 6 at the end of that game after a Glimmer Post for 4. Like, their life total was in... They were at a spot where they couldn't even afford to draw cards to try to find a counterspell to deal with an answer to their Emrakul. Yeah, just a little more damage. I could shave up Ponder versus the deck that I know has Chalice of the Void in it. Alright, I think I'm going to do that. Mulligan this no-lander. Okay, I will keep this hand. And I'm going to Thoughtseize them. I have to put one away. It might just be Tamiyo, but Tamiyo enables Kaito. Do I want Baragoi for Tamiyo to be my plan? If I bottom Tamiyo, I could Thoughtseize them and leave Chalice of the Void there. But I might not find land number 3 to even cast this Baragoi. Alright, I'm putting Baragoi on the bottom. Thoughtseize you. Planar Nexus Urza's Tower, Force of Will, Kozilek's Command, 2 stock ups Ugin. Urza's Tower plus Planar Nexus does cast stock up, that is a thing. I think I'm going to take one of the stocks. Because next turn I can play Tamiyo with Consign backup. If they Kozilek's Command her, I can Consign it. If they force it costs them their second stock up, then they have 4 mana and a 7-drop in hand. Ponder. I would really like to cast that Ponder. Okay, I think I'm going to go Ponder, then Tamiyo, and leave Consign out for this turn. Oh man, Thoughtseize. But I can't Thoughtseize and use my mana this turn. I could just skip Tamiyo. Like if they stock up this turn... Okay, I'm going to go... I am going to keep this, and I'm not going to develop Tamiyo. Because their most likely play this turn is stock up. If they leave up mana for Kozilek's Command, I can just get that whenever in the future. And if they don't leave up mana, I can go Thoughtseize, develop Tamiyo, hold up Consign for the turn. Thoughtseize you. Here's the hand again. They have a 5th mana here. Ugin is eventually a giant problem. I could take stock up and then Force of Will sucks. They have 2 answers to Tamiyo with Command and... I'm actually going to take stock up. And I think I'm just going to chill. I'm not going to advance Tamiyo into this known interaction. Eldrazi Confluence or Kozilek's Command are both the plays that could develop them here. I make 2 spawns and scry. That resolves. And these big mana decks are just so hopeless for a mid-range deck. I talked in the deck tech about how we're just a little bit bigger than Tempo, but we're so much smaller than a real ramp deck. Right, they could jam Ugin here and I can just counter it. Ugh. That Kozilek's Command went top, though they could have Force blue card. There's one unknown over there. If I play around Force without kicking Consign, then... Or if I let them Force... Alright, you can Force. The top card on my deck is a land, which plays the Kaito, but Ugin kills Kaito. Alright, I can't afford the land anymore. Barrogoyf. I just can't beat Ugin. If it resolves, it's in there forever. And alright, this game's over. I can't beat this hand. Every one of the cards in their hand beats me by itself. Terrible, terrible matchup. If this sort of thing is in your metagame, put back to basics in your sideboard, and then you get a really potent weapon. The original build of this deck had back to basics in the main. I advocated for it to be in the sideboard, and Wombat Ferraris cut it entirely, and that's just a meta call. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 3 with a pretty little interactive hand. I'm going to keep it. This is what I love about this deck. All these hands just look like this. It's a bunch of cards you're happy to play, and usually stable mana to cast them. This might be a spot where I lead on Underground Sea, because I do have various combinations of blue and black cards I might want to cast next turn. And I have so many lands I don't care if I get wasted. Okay, Spell Pierce, Prismatic Ending, Ponder, 4th Aerolingus. I'm taking Prismatic Ending because I want Tamiyo to take over this game. We're against some sort of Jeskai control. Tarn. Basic Island. They might have their own back to basics over there. That would be okay with me. I decided to leave up Spell Pierce rather than develop with Ponder. I'm just going to play Tamiyo and leave that Spell Pierce to rot. Now we have to Emergency Ponder looking for Swords to Plowshares before Tamiyo takes over. Tamiyo can flip next turn. Ponder plus Baleful Strix gets it done. Or Ponder plus Crack Clue. Shuffled the library, played the plains. Did we hit? No. Okay, I don't want to randomly lose this game to back to basics, so I'm just going to take a draw rather than cracking for a Surveil land. All right, Tamiyo, get in there. Ponder. Force of Will. I like that. I'm about to protect the queen. Island, Baleful Strix. I'll leave that clue for later. I can develop to the board while still flipping Tamiyo. Bang. They did have the plow. Alright, well, I'm in on this Tamiyo at this point. Another force. I could quickly become good. If my opponent has a red land, they could jam Lingus for 1, but that doesn't even get through Tamiyo. If they introduce the Monarch to this game, I think they die immediately. Cycling Warren revealed. There's the Volk. Your own Tamiyo. Nile Spellbomb. That's not very good. Okay, I'm going to draw with my clue first. If I find a blue card, I can turtle up. I think I want to just put Ponder in my hand with Tamiyo. And I want to Thoughtseize them with Tamiyo. Alright, I'm going to grab Ponder and just play this game a little slower. I don't want to try to speedrun to the top here when now they have their own Tamiyo. I'm leaving Strix back because that can tangle if they want to start making clues. Lingus can kill Tamiyo right now. Okay, they must have a Brainstorm if they're making this attack. Oh, Flame of Enor would be a good one as well. Alright, do you have another force over there? I know 3 of the cards. Cool. That was a big turn. Now Tamiyo dies for nothing. They could have done that pre-combat. There was not really a reason to do it like that. I am going to get my Undercity Sewer at this point. Back to basics would lock down more of their mana than mine. Plus Tamiyo. Brainstorm. If I hit Kaito here, that turns the corner pretty quick. One of these Vistas goes back. And do I care about Nile Spellbomb? Sometimes these decks have Snapcaster Mage in them. I think I'm going to go Vista Ponder back. Play a Vista. Play Nile Spellbomb. And I will attack. 4th Aerolingus, even with a land off the top, can't kill Tamiyo at this point. And I'm not going to shuffle. I do want that Ponder. I can do everything I want to do here while still drawing my Ponder. And then shuffling away the land. Ponder. Sure, let's push it. Brainstorm in response. Okay. Gotta do what you gotta do. Whipping cards around like crazy here. 1 to you. So they didn't find Force or didn't want to use it here. They could still have Swords to Plowshares, but I'm not even convinced this Bowmaster is the right place to put it. The Ponder shuffled. That's good news. I suspect Spell Pierce is gone here. It looks like they found Prismatic Ending. Sure. You got it. All right, the Tamiyo, who already drew 3 cards, is now dead. Here's Ponder. I'm going to Ponder before I shuffle. Ooh, shuffle. All lands. Shuffle that. Fatal Push. I'll Spellbomb for the card here. Another push. All right, well, it's kind of falling apart here. I'm still pushing damage. I still have Bowmaster. That's useful. If they try to Lingus into these Fatal Pushes, they're going to be bummed out. Thunder Trap. That's a good target for Fatal Push. Found a Plow. Yeah, just take out the Bowmaster right now. Don't blame me for that. I am going to push this thing. I don't want Flame of Anor to be on for even a second. And I'm going to keep drawing Fatal Pushes, so it's fine. Another Trainer. They're using the 2-for-1s. I mean, their life total's under pressure, but they are starting to stabilize over there. There's Flame of Anor. I cannot let them have a Wizard to go with that. Cracking a Clue in response to Fatal Push. Come on, deck. Kaito. Tamiyo. I don't hate Tamiyo. That is a card that is probably worth their Flame of Anor, and their life total is getting low. If they have a Wizard here, they suddenly get a lot of action, and Flame of Anor is an instant, so the only way they can mess this up if they have a Thunder Trap Trainer is like play Trainer without fetching, and then when they fetch to play Flame, I can push, and then they won't have a Wizard. It's a fairy. Well, can't do anything about that. What is this worried about? The most damage in play is Orc Army. The Tamiyo represents card draw, but doesn't do any damage. I think Baleful Strix is the least of all worries in every direction. Okay, just plussing Teferi. They want to do it all next turn. Okay, I like that guy. I'm going to attack my opponent with all my creatures. Children's Edict, sacrifice a Planeswalker. Something's happening in response. Spell Pierce. All right, well, I'll pay. They don't want me drawing any more cards. Or do we have 2 Spell Pierces? Okay, the late game Spell Pierce Flood has found a home. Sure. All right, opponent's at 2. We know Flame of Anor. We saw the 4th Aerolingus earlier, but they have Brainstorm since then. Lingus doesn't win this game by itself, at least not all at once. Wizard into Flame here is really bad. Brainstorm. Yeah, Teferi can minus on Orc Army at any point. And then we know they have a removal spell for one of these 2 remaining creatures. Tamiyo becomes a huge problem next turn with the second clue in the bank. Basic Mountain. That can't shuffle the Brainstorm, so they're stuck with whatever cards they got here. A Wizard is bad for me. A 2-mana Wizard. A 3-mana Wizard's okay. Dang. Alright. And the Teferi protecting that thing from Fatal Push. They can completely stabilize my board. Destroy target artifact, deal 5 here, bounce this. With Force of Will still back. Alright, that's bounced. Alright, can I find 2 more damage somewhere? Oh, they chose to draw cards instead of kill Tamiyo. That's bold. Alright, I'll take it. Not saying it's wrong, it's just bold. Alright, I'm going to play this Baleful Strix. It represents a card draw that maybe they'll respect. Okay, that's also a card draw. Attack with Tamiyo. Attack my opponent. Okay, Ponder flips Tamiyo. Alright, there's Kaito and Bowmaster. These are 2 of the best cards in my deck. I'll put the Kaito in my hand now. Flip Tamiyo. Plus Tamiyo. Fatal Push Trainer. Alright, this is crazy tight. The Tamiyo bubble makes 4th Aerolingus deal half as much damage as it would normally do. Alright, your own Tamiyo. Okay. Attack with Baleful Strix. Swords to Plowshares, sure. Second main. Buy back Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize you. Alright. Spending the Force on that, that's fine. I could still draw a card right now. Is there any card that would matter? Alright, I'll draw a card. Looted Delta. Fetch. Swamp. Land. Bowmaster. I want to go face here, I think. Teferi could bounce Bowmaster, but then I can play it again. 4th Aerolingus is worth 12 damage here, but then they die to the Monarch in their end step if they don't clear Bowmaster in between. Magus of the Moon. I'll fetch a basic Swamp in response. That card's not very good against me. It is 2 blockers. So Kaito can't get in. All right, they're playing this Scalding Tarn after Magus of the Moon. Are you out of basic islands? That's interesting. Oh, this 4th Aerolingus got shuffled away on the Brainstorm all those years ago when I thought they'd shuffle away Spell Pierce. All right, opponent is dead. They haven't used Teferi yet, at least +8. Yeah, okay, there's the plus on Teferi. Okay, they don't need to see Kaito. I'll just cast this other Bowmaster from hand. 1 to you. All right, that started to turn around, but I played a couple different Jeskai control decks on the channel recently, and my end of the day ruling on that, my decision on that is that they're working so hard where every deck with Tamiyo can outdraw every control deck. So why are you playing the big dirtily hope your deck lines up kind of game plan, which I generally love. If I could do whatever I want in Legacy, that's what I'd be doing, but it's just not good here. Right, Hydroblast can hit things like Pyroblast and 4th Aerolingus and Flame of Enor. Okay, yeah. Flame of Enor, you got me. Got me on the hook. All of these Fatal Pushes did find targets that game, but that doesn't mean they're good. Though Tamiyo, specifically. Right, Nile Spellbomb gets me a Fatal Push back in. Thoughtseize, MVP. Baleful Strix, quite good. Barragoyf is fine. Bowmaster's great. Kaito's great. I think I do want all my forces in here because so many of my cards are worth 2 or more cards, like Tamiyo, Strix, Barragoyf, Kaito. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have 1 push in for Tamiyo and then Hydroblast for Flames. I could split it the other way. I could go 2-2. Like, attack the Wizard makes Flame worse versus counter Flame, but let them have the Wizard. If Tamiyo wasn't involved, I would just cut all the Fatal Pushes and never look back. But Tamiyo is specifically a problem. Right, I think I'm going to go all Hydros. I'll try that. There's 1 push, 3 Hydros in. Okay, good mana, good stuff to do. Keep. I suspect that Magus of the Moon is out of their deck, but I'm still going to use basic lands where I can. Ponder. Ooh, Thoughtseize, Kaito, basic island. I like every one of these cards. Right, island, Kaito, Thoughtseize, don't shuffle. Starting to do stuff. It's probably a Thunder Trap. A Tamiyo and just Brainstorm straight up. Right, Tamiyo represent Brainstorm. I think I want to Ponder here. Ponder first, because I want the island that's on top of my deck, but I also want to cast Thoughtseize this turn. Force of Will's good too. Barragoyf's the worst card here. Alright, I am actually going to draw the Force of Will now, play Polluted Delta, and not cast Thoughtseize. This means they get Tamiyo for a turn, but I'm holding Sheoldred's Edict. They're going to get to bank a clue, but I want to do everything, and I want it to be good. Tamiyo fight. Ponder. Their Tamiyo can flip this turn if they want her to. They want to tap out for that. Okay, they are banking on the clues instead. Alright, I'm going to Thoughtseize here. What does Thoughtseize even do, though? Like, I could Bowmaster with Force backup, which enables Kaito. Yeah, playing on basics, which was not optional until this one. And this was the one. Like, I need one of these to tap for black to do everything I want to do. Like, Thoughtseize have access to Bowmaster, enable Kaito is of interest to me. All right, I think I want to Thoughtseize. I want to know what's going on over there. But Thoughtseizing into this Tamiyo is so pointless. All right, I'm just going to pass. I certainly could have played those turns. I don't know if I could have played those turns better, but it's not ideal how it has rolled out. Ponder, you got it. I want to save this Bowmaster for the end step, because Kaito is the card I really care about here. But Ponder did not shuffle. Yeah, they're drawing a card. I could Sheoldred's Edict now, though Bowmaster now is even better. They've played their land already. Yeah, I'm just going to Bowmaster now. I don't care if Tamiyo flips here. All right, Force pitching Lorien. Force pitching Brainstorm. Red Blast would be pretty miserable here. Shit. All right, they got it. Okay. But we started a fight. That lets Sheoldred's Edict work. Yeah, losing out that Brainstorm kind of sucks, though. Okay, Thoughtseize into Sheoldred's Edict gets me everything. Prismatic Ending, Brainstorm. Alright, I'm going to take Brainstorm, leave them with 2 white removal spells in hand. I'm going to Edict the Tamiyo. Each opponent sacrifices a Planeswalker of their choice. And then I can hardcast Kaito next turn, which does not care about these cards at all. Crack the Clue, leaving up red and white. Okay, 1 card in hand. The only cards I would care about here are Red Blast or Spell Pierce. This is the plan I made. Kaito. We're in there. I would like an emblem that makes my ninja bigger. I doubt they have a fourth color in their deck for this prismatic ending. Red. Fourth Aerolingus is good. Didn't have that one. Thoughtseize. I love that card. Alright, show me those thoughts before I attack. Oh, yeah. Alright, 2 plows and an ending. I think ending's better than plow. And it's also the unique one. Attack. And I'm going to start drawing cards here with Kaito. Bitter Triumph, Barrowglyph. I don't think I want Bitter Triumph. Do I want to work these Barrowglyphs through these plows? Alright, I will. I'll cast Ponder. Hydroblast, Force of Will. Okay, I am going to keep these in this order. These don't help me get my Barrowglyphs through, but Kaito will win this game as long as he doesn't get Red Blasted or 4th Aerolingus, and Hydroblast covers both of those. Ponder. Didn't shuffle. Found something that can challenge Kaito. Snapcaster Mage, this will target Pyroblast. This is why we banked the Hydro. Bang. Counter target spell if it's red. I believe that one fits the bill. Now I'm drawing kind of a shitty Force of Will. I'm just going to attack. If they block, that makes Flame of Anor worse. If they don't block, I get to draw another card. I'm going to draw more cards. I know that Snapcaster's over there. Ooh, Strix. This is actually perfect. I'm going to go top and play both of these creatures. Strix, draw my land. Land plays Barrowglyph. Flush both of the plows out of their hand for the next Barrowglyph. Alright, go. So if they end step plow, and then untap 4th Aerolingus, they could win this game. Plow's gone, fetch Tundra. Alright, have not plowed the Strix. Okay, suddenly interested in that. That's a little spooky. 1 card in hand. Is it 4th Aerolingus? Alright, damage on Kaito. It's a fairy. Alright, that makes my force shitty, but whatever. They could bounce their own Snapcaster here and get some long-term value. Alright, that is the plan. So their hand is Snapcaster Mage right now, and they have access to plows in the graveyard. I think I actually want to attack Teferi here, because with this Force of Will up, I'm worried about so little. And the best they can do with Snapcaster here is jump block and cast Brainstorm. And then I can jam out the Barrowglyph because they've Brainstormed instead of leaving up Swords to Plowshares. Alright, yep, Brainstorm targeted in the bin. They're brainstorming immediately, which is good for me. They don't have to do that, but now I could do something like Ponder into Thoughtseize, or Ponder into Bowmaster, pick off Teferi, and have an answer to their stuff. I have not activated Kaito yet. I could even Surveil without a draw. There's the block. And I'm going to start with Ponder. Children's Edict. That does clear Teferi, but I don't really care about that if I don't have Force backup. Yeah, I'm just going to shuffle that. Baleful Strix. Huh. If I Surveil and there's a land there, I can double spell right now. Alright, I'm going to Surveil too. Kaito Strix. I think I'm going to go top and just cast 2 Strixes right now. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm choosing to go wide. And now if they have scrambled their way into an answer to Kaito, I have another one ready. I could even plus make an emblem with this Kaito, ninjutsu it out the other Kaito, picking up this one, then this one can draw a card after combat. Like, I got tricks here. They would need something big, like an instant speed Supreme Verdict, to really flip this one. Brainstorm. 4th Aerolingus does 8 damage right now. That's not bad. But Kaito's bad news on the backswing. Yeah, that Brainstorm, at 2 cards in hand, they can either have 2 spells and then draw some worse cards over the next few turns, or they can shuffle somehow and only have 1 spell. Alright, we're elbow tapping. Looks like the Lingus is here. This is the only card in their deck I was scared of. Alright, how hard are we going? They have real decisions here. Like, do they want to try to get me dead in 2 hits? Do they want to kill Kaito for sure? Do they want to maybe kill Kaito, but also get the initiative? If they don't damage me, they don't get the initiative. Okay, everything's attacking Kaito. That's perfect. I just put another one of these on top of my deck. So you can have this one. Alright, I will try to get her done here, I guess. Attack opponent directly. Kaito. Opponent's at 3. If I plus this to 5, they have to make 3 attackers on it. If I stun one of the attackers, they can only get it with 1. I want Kaito to be a continuing problem for them. I'm going to ninja again, so they have to attack this with a lot. And I'm going to deploy this Barrogoyf in the way. All right, go. They can kill Kaito here, but it'll cost them a knight, and Barrogoyf is lethal on the backswing, so they need another card. Okay, plow off the top, not bad. Now they can dedicate a big swing to clearing Kaito, and put 2 damage on me if they want to. All right, there you go. At 3 life, though, this is the exact same spot they were in last game, where I was able to just sort of trickle over the finish line. Something like a Bowmaster is huge here. I'm not going to complain about a Tamiyo. And put you to 2. I'm ignoring Teferi. If they minus Teferi this turn to stay alive, then he's gone anyway and Force of Will's online. All right, fetching to 1 in the upkeep. This means they can't pitch Force of Will anymore. They can't fetch anymore. They got to deal with 2 Baleful Strixes this turn. And if they use Teferi to deal with one of them, then they need to beat Force of Will with the other. Teferi's been used. Lavinia. Well, I mean, I can't force after Lavinia's come down, so I'll play that, I guess. Okay, wow, they threaded the needle. Kind of. Now I get to flip Tamiyo and put them back in check next turn. All right, I'll block one of these. I take 2. I guess they're playing around... They're not playing around anything here, because if I have Bowmaster, they're dead. Like, what? Oh, they can't block Brazen Borrower. Yeah, I think it was just a mistake not to attack with everything. But that's okay. It's your life to live. Fatal Push, I like. Tamiyo is going to flip here. I can kill 2 horses with the Hydro plus push, and the horses will be smaller because of Tamiyo. All right, we're back in. I think I actually like blocking with this Tamiyo more than I like leaving up 2 things, because Fatal Push, the only thing it's going to do, I guess if they go Thunder Trap Trainer, Trigger, hit Flame of Anor, then Fatal Push would be useful. But then I just Flame of Anor. All right, yeah. Great, they can kick it anyway, so that doesn't matter. I have Hydroblast to fight through this. They're making a fight out of it. They've had the best cards they could have for the last 3 turns in a row. But we are still banging it out here. Flame of Anor in the mix. Prismatic Ending in the mix. That's probably going to take out Baleful Strix. Yep. All right. Game on. Can I draw one of my 3 remaining Bowmasters before I lose it all? I think I actually am going to Fatal Push one of these horses. I can't take them off a wizard, but I can protect Tamiyo's loyalty a little more. Leave her at 2 instead of 1. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to plus and then attack and then brainstorm. Or should I clue first? I think I want to clue first. Brazen Borrower. That's pretty close to lethal. All right, I'm going to brainstorm. Thoughtseize. Baleful Strix. Baleful Strix is lethal. Thoughtseize strips the flame. I'm going to have 2 Tamiyo bubbles, so there's no damage on the board right now. If I put back Borrower Vista here, Tamiyo flips. I would like the new, smaller one. Baleful Strix draws Vista. Vista, there is an island left in my deck. I'm out of swamps. Let me make sure that's true. Yeah, 3 islands, 2 swamps. Make sure one isn't in the graveyard somehow. I didn't surveil one away. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Thoughtseize your flame. All right. Top deck mode, and it can't be a red card. Ponder. Digging. Oh, Prismatic Ending is the card that can answer Tamiyo. They didn't shuffle. There's red mana in the pool. Flame of Anor. 1 island, save me. What a tight, awesome match of Magic this was. Just sweet back and forth decisions, long games played by both players, coming down to 1 life point versus heavy stability, both games. This is good shit. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks at the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables. I'm on the play for round 4. I like my hand. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to lead on Flooded Strand because I have enough lands here that I can afford to get my sewer and it won't feel bad if I get wasted or whatever. I'm not doing anything else on turn 1. Underground Sea, Ponder. This Ponder is in the uncanny valley for me because it looks like just normal Ponder, but it has that, like, the little extra black at the bottom of the frame that the most new cards have, like the slightly altered frame. Not that there's anything wrong with that Ponder. I'm just saying that triggered my lizard brain. Tamiyo, Inquisitive Student. I'll put that on top of my deck. Is that a combination with the card Brainstorm that's in my hand? Vista, fetch, island, Tamiyo. I guess I shouldn't have fetched right away. I'm not going to just like speed flip this. I'm going to do the sub game. And it doesn't matter if I get Archon of Cruelty here. You've got a Tamiyo, I've got a Tamiyo. I had the first one, but we both have mana up. Attack, trigger. I'm going to cast Ponder and see if that is scary enough. Okay, Fatal Push. I actually want that a lot. Okay, Strix, Force, Push, Don't Shuffle. And I'm going to pass and hope they fetch in the end step. They shouldn't, like, given how these cards work, but I think that was the window to try to do something. Okay, having both Fatal Push and Sheoldred's Edict here, I am going to try the push. If they brainstorm, fine, but let's get it out of the way. Ooh, cool. Got away with it. I was not expecting that in the possible range of outcomes. I milled away a Polluted Delta. I'm not going to shuffle because I like all my cards. I now have Force of Will protection. I'm going to play this land and draw Baleful Strix off the top of my deck. Fetch, island, fetch, swamp. My opponent did not have protection for their own Tamiyo, so that emboldens me to just get rowdy here, and even if they did have Fatal Push, Tamiyo drew that many cards already. Alright, now I have to worry about getting Archon of Cruelty. If this is Dimir Tempo, which is not, we now have an indicator. The second Undercity Sewer should tell you it's not Tempo. Wasteland, okay. Murktide, alright. I got a million ways to cover that in my deck. I think earlier I was listing all the ways in my deck I have to deal with a Murktide, and I just didn't even account for Baleful Strix. Sorry, little buddy. You know I love you. Ooh, that's nice. Show me your moves. Force, Daze, Reanimate, Archon. The Daze is notable, I guess. This is one of those spots where I could take Daze and then Force is useless, or I could take, but then if they draw a blue card, it becomes good. Or I could take Force and just play around Daze. I think I want to take Force. The opponent just said, hi, chat. It is for a video. They asked, is this for a video? If so, hi, chat. It's always for a video. Everyone say hi to Kienoa. All right, Baleful Strix comes in. Their hand does not beat Baleful Strix, and I have Force of Will that does beat their Daze if they suddenly do. Tamiyo to the roof. That's the turn. I could have just edicted this, but this answers it just as well. The twist here is I have to, like, Force of Will a Fatal Push, which I otherwise wouldn't want to do. I mean, that's not even true. Tamiyo can just go to 2 and we game on. Flooded Strand from hand. Yeah, if they Fatal Push my Strix here, I'll just let Tamiyo go to 2 Loyalty and then untap Edict and carry on plussing with Force of Will in my hand. They do have Reanimate in their hand. Like, if they want to send Murktide in, trade off with Strix, and then reanimate Murktide or Strix, that is legal, I guess. Like, Strix is a redraw. Alright, I mean, I'm not going to not block Murktide Regent with Baleful Strix if I have the opportunity. Reanimating Strix just kind of cycles the reanimate, because Strix is not pushing damage versus Tamiyo ever. Another Tamio. I don't care. Sure. Okay, they are in check versus my Force of Will. I'm going to develop a Barrogoyf, because that doesn't change what I have access to. It does mean I can't Edict them this turn through days, but Edict is not effective versus their board full of little creatures anyway. They're attacking for -1. I should gain a life. Cracking the clue, doing what they can. This is the last stand before Tamio is a problem. I don't care about Nile Spellbomb. Spellbomb does flip their Tamio, but I think after I draw half my deck, I can figure it out. Alright, Tamio flips. Barrogoyf gets no smaller. They had all of the unique card types in their graveyard. Alright, here's the fetch. They're still moving, still doing stuff. Alright, I don't care about Tamio. Alright, well, I'm gonna fetch a basic swamp and then draw half my deck. Let's game. Here they come. There are 24 cards in my hand. Okay, I'm not even gonna look at my whole hand. Thoughtseize you. I'll take Daze. Atraxa and Archon in the hand. It's nice to see a Reanimator tripping over its own nutsack once in a while. Bowmaster. Kill. Baleful Strix. Okay, they've had enough. Alright, great. Very Macabre. Nile Spellbomb. Bitter Triumph. 2 forces and a Fatal Push. That's what I did last time, and I think it still plays. I like it. Keep it simple, stupid. Ooh, the rare bad against Wasteland hand. What? It has 2 Ponders. We have faith. Blue to Delta. Ponder. Cool. Here's my Ponder by comparison. It's blue the whole way around. It doesn't turn black right at the bottom of the frame. Basic Island. Ooh, Thoughtseize. I would love to cast that Thoughtseize, but I'd love more to not lose to Wasteland immediately. Okay, cool. A Delta lets me keep playing. There's a Thoughtseize and a Barrogoyf under it. Pondar. Shuffled the library. Has a Wasteland. I did my duty here. A basic island this time. Start getting stable underneath this oppressive Wasteland business. 3 lands. No lands. Shuffle. Found a land. Okay, great. No worries. We're in great shape. Thoughtseize. They can't take Thoughtseize from my hand because, like, this is the card I'm most excited about on my turn. And I'm glad they're not able to take all of them. And I'm going to send one of these right back at you. What are we working with? All right, more Thoughtseize. Barrogoyf, Engine Explosives, Fatal Push, Tamio. I think it's Thoughtseize here. Yeah. That's the most interactive card that they have. And Tamio is their only blue card for Force. Baleful Strix gets in front of Tamio. Motobug. Alright, I'll brainstorm here. Hide the goods. They can't have Daze, I know their whole hand. I think I'm going to go Kaito Bowmaster on top. Alright, Kaito Bowmaster, tuck back. This lets me double spell next turn either way. I can either go Tamio plus Bowmaster or Thoughtseize plus Bowmaster. I'm going to Thoughtseize before... It doesn't matter if I Thoughtseize before making my land drop. They know what I got. Okay. Fatal Push answers Bowmaster cleanly. They could still force, but I want this to cost 2 cards. I'm going to take Fatal Push. Bowmaster. If they're ready to delete their Tamio for that, I'm in. Alright, that is in, which means Kaito's very likely to show up next turn. Ponder, got him. Alright, cool. That Ponder didn't shuffle, but then also missed a land drop. It's a little scary. What do those 2 things mean in unison together? Alright, I am once again going to prioritize having Bowmaster in play over more damage. Maybe reanimates the card they kept and they can reanimate my Bowmaster. Alright, and kill mine. Alright, I'll surveil. I don't want Tamio at this phase of the game. I do want Fatal Push if I suspect that reanimate targeting my Bowmaster is their plan here. Yeah, I could have picked up Bowmaster. Okay, they just kept a Fatal Push on top. That is great. The Re-Kaitoning. Kaito 2. I can get them dead in 2 hits if I plus, so I'm doing that. It's exactly lethal, plus Kaito attack, plus Kaito attack. Now that I have a redundant blue Kaito in my hand, I can jump out this Baleful Strix. And we got the GGs in the chat. I was worried about keeping a one-lander that was soft to Wasteland, but they had the Wasteland, but it also turns out they had the one-lander. Stable mana, getting it done. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. On the draw for the final round, positive record locked, playing for the bread and butter 4-1. Hand is lovely. A Marsh Flats. Is this the energy deck? Okay. A Reanimator again. Okay. I think I'm just going to try to push this. The best they can do is Daze or Force. Like, this at least gets around the totally free Brainstorm dodge. Yeah, all right. Take that thing out. Polluted Delta. Second Tameo. Showing me who's boss. All right. Polluted Delta of my own. Thoughtseize you. Can you protect 2 Tameos? There is the Brainstorm there. There's also the Daze there, and it is Reanimator confirmed. I think it has to be Brainstorm. I could take the Daze and see if they want to fetch in their end step. That's so reckless, though. It doesn't even make sense to do as a play. Like, that play is so bad, I don't even want to give them the opportunity to make it. I'll just take Brainstorm and play around Daze next turn with my normal development of mana. Right, there's a fetch. Because of the Daze, that fetch is okay. Kept a card in hand. Yeah, the Brainstorm also stopped them from getting that Attracts into the graveyard. There was a lot of action on that. Okay, if they ponder into a land, they could flip Tameo here. Thoughtseize, huh? Alright, well, that resolves. All the cards in my hand are good in different ways, so it's not like jamming this Fatal Push into the Daze gets me any value here. Took my Tameo. Ponder. Taking my Tameo is interesting because that means I can Fatal Push their Tameo and play Nile Spellbomb and cover almost anything they could do here. Like, they need Force of Will exactly. I think they're hungry enough for mana that I can get my Undercity Sewer here without feeling too bad about it being gone if they waste it. But I don't need another land. A blue card or a threat are what I'm looking for. Hey, that's both. Sweet. Island from hand, Fatal Push Tameo, develop Nile Spellbomb. Now I have almost everything covered that they could do. Oh, if they jam Murktide right now, I just passed, but I have Brazen Borrower from Murktide as well, so I'm not even that worried about that. Land, Tameo. I don't like that one. Do I want to Force of Will this? I kind of do. And I don't, but I also do. So I don't want this card in play. I will force it. And now I'm softer to Murktide than I'd like. I'm going to hold this Polluted Delta in my hand. All right, I'm suddenly worried about my position if they have Murktide. I think they just brainstormed this Atraxa away. I think that's a safe bet. I do have 4 Strixes, 2 Kaitos, 2 Edicts still in the deck for possible Atraxa stuff. All right, yep, they got me. All right, one of my many answers to that, nope. Yeah, and that is the squeeze they put on Nile Spellbomb as a deck. I've seen some Reanimator lists experimenting without Murktide, and I think that's so bad because, like, exactly this position is so potent. I can't really afford to fetch here. On deck. Ponder. Find one of my good ones. Cracking a clue in response is fine. One of many. All right. Sheoldred's Edict. I'll take it. Don't shuffle. Do cast it. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. They would need main deck Bowmasters or to have drawn a Force of Will. Cool. All right, that thing's handled. There's no spells in the graveyard. If they have another one, it has to be 3/3, and I'm not going to suddenly unlock Entomb Reanimate now that they're up to 4 cards in hand in the mid-game. Reanimate my Tameo. I don't really want them to have that, but I am also drawing Bowmaster, and this isn't dealing damage, and if this flips, it's mine. Like, I get the Planeswalker. So there is some back and forth on that. I think I will play my land. My life total is not under stress anymore. I don't want them drawing a ton of extra cards, but I think this is how I got to do this. All right, fetching. I'm playing around Hardcast Force right now as much as I can. All right, I will jump out this Bowmaster now. Okay, 1 to you. Another 1 to you. Reanimate your own Tameo. That's so interesting. If their hand is Entomb Reanimate right now, and I lose to this, that would be so stupid. All right, Reanimate resolves. Right, now this one can flip into a Planeswalker if it wants to. I'm going to fetch. Underground Sea. All right. Good spells. Yeah. That is among the better spells there are in Magic. Or at least certainly in Legacy. Ooh. The Burrowgoof. All right, I think I'm going to mess around with Sheoldred's Edict next turn and just get the Barrowgoyf in now. It's straight up goofing. Barrowgoyf resolves. They've brainstormed since we saw this daze. They might have gotten rid of it, but I am going to keep myself reminded. Cool. All right, a little dicey around that Murktide, but having patience, just understanding that my deck has one answer to reanimate and 3 or 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 answers to Murktide Regent, and have faith in the numbers and let the deck do its job. All right, well, here we are again. I'm recording this like 2.5 weeks before Eternal Weekend. I'm not surprised everyone's getting sweaty in these queues. But Reanimator is one of the decks we got to beat in the format. And if the Brew stands on business and beats Reanimator 3 times in the same league, then, check. All right, Thoughtseize, taking my Thoughtseize, sure. Ponder. All right, I'm going to cast this Ponder. They said, whoops, clicked too fast. What does that mean? I don't know what they mean by that. I wonder if they just meant to take a different card. I don't know. Thoughtseize targeting Thoughtseize looks good to me. All right, I kept my Ponder. There's another Thoughtseize, which I've hidden on top of the deck. There's a Brazen Bee. And here I'm going to fetch away that bonus land that we don't want. And I'll Thoughtseize you. Barrowgoyf, Dauthi Voidwalker, Daze, Fatal Push, Wasteland. They can cast Barrowgoyf. They cannot cast Dauthi Voidwalker without a rip. And it's got to be Barrowgoyf. That card's really good. All right, pass. So their hand sucks. It becomes better if they find a black source. All right, got there immediately. But I am working with perfect info. I do have a deck full of removal. Their hand is not that scary, all in all. Oh dear. Oh dear. I could Tamiyo flip her right now while Fatal Push is tapped out. That sounds good. Basic Island, Tamiyo, Brainstorm. And she will take 2 damage, but she'll be in Planeswalker mode where my opponent's gotta deal with that. All right, I don't really want this Sewer at all. All right, I'm going to put Bowmaster and Brazen Borrower back on top. Mostly just trying to hide from a top deck Thoughtseize. I also have to keep in mind that things are going into the void here. Boo, boo. Turn the bad hand into a good one. And when I'm tapped out of Bowmaster and they know it. I played Underground Sea number 3. That's not a shuffle, importantly. And Dauthi Voidwalker and Tamiyo can touch tips for a while here. I don't mind that one bit. I'm going to drop this Nile Spellbomb. It doesn't draw a card as long as Voidwalker's in play because it doesn't go to the graveyard when it dies. But investing in it now lets me deal with the Voidwalker next turn. Yeah, these things are just like canceling each other out pretty well. Basically 2 permanents with passive abilities. All right, Sewer, drop that. Force of Will. I honestly don't even want that. It can go in the void. Whatever. Another Wasteland. Their hand is Fatal Push and Daze. I could Petty Theft Voidwalker right now, buy me a turn to do stuff with Tamiyo. All right, I am going to Petty Theft the Voidwalker now. This lets me draw with Spellbomb. I will pay the black. All right, their graveyard's gone. If they have Voidwalkers and Barrowgoyfs in, I just suspect that the reanimation stuff is not well represented at this point. Ponder. Fatal Push. There we go. That's the card I've been waiting for my whole life. Don't shuffle. Do plus. And I'm going to push this thing now before they could represent Hardcast Force. Force Pitching Daze. All right. That means their hand is Fatal Push. And we're still just treading water versus the Bowmaster or the Voidwalker. That's fine. The Void is pretty robust. There's a Ponder, a couple of lands. I'm drawing Thoughtseize here, which clears the runway from this Fatal Push. Right, yeah, I'll take that. Thoughtseize now also in the void. All right, I'll pass. Sewer, dumped other Sewer. Okay, Tamiyo takes 2. Brazen Borrower, get in there. And now I'm winning the damage race after many turns of nobody doing anything. I think I'd like to Brainstorm here. I could deal with a Bowmaster if they flash one in. Yeah, that's fine. I'll kill that. Brazen Borrower dies. It's in the void. I don't think I need a Macabre. Definitely don't need Underground Sea. Yeah, they have nothing. All right, I'm gonna shuffle away this Fairy Macabre. They have no cards in hand. They can draw in 2 or reanimate, not both. Even Brainstorm could only end up with one or the other. They're out of Surveil lands, so there's no backdoor into the extra peak. Ponder, let's go. All right. Opponent's feeling desperate. We get to remove their Orc army. And they don't want to play anymore. Tapping out. Nice. That was a pretty good league. We defeated Reanimator 3 times and then some other deck and lost to a kind of off meta. I mean, I'm aware of Blue Post. I know that's out there and you should be too if you are dialed in for Eternal Weekend. But we lost. It's not a tier 1 deck. We lost to a kind of rising off meta deck that is a heinous matchup that we have in this current configuration 0 answers to. I'll just say this deck's awesome. It is, you get to make a lot of fun legacy decisions. Ponder, Brainstorm, Tameo, Thoughtseize, Kaito. These are all cards that offer you decisions to make. If you make them well, you can defeat your opponents. There were a bunch of examples in this league of I had mana and could do stuff, but didn't do it. Especially like game 2 against that Jeskai Wizards deck where I didn't cast the Thoughtseize even though I had it and didn't develop my creatures out or, you know, whatever. Like give myself a turn until like turn 4 when I could Thoughtseize them and play Bowmaster and pay for days and just like do it all. You do have to be locked in enough on Legacy to be able to make those sequencing things, know what your opponent's capable of, know how quickly you need to act versus when you can sit back and you don't have to worry about anything. And there are 2 Underground Seas in this deck, but there doesn't have to be. If you don't have access to Underground Sea, you could play a second Undercity Sewers and a Watery Grave, and the deck would be almost as good. This is a really cool option that is probably approachable for, you know, at least people with a modern collection, if not a smaller one. Very, very nice deck. Wombat Ferrari's doing a lot of good work on this, and I think he's in a good spot. If Eternal Weekend's going to be a bunch of Reanimator decks and Nadu decks and stuff, then, and Dimir Tempo especially, like you're just bigger than Dimir Tempo at their own plan in game 1. I think this has a pretty good spread against a lot of top matchups, and that's a nice place to be. I'm going to leave this one here. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.